We're on the peninsula of Charleston, South Carolina. We're the first vertical saltwater farm in the world. Places like Charleston have too much seawater. We think of it generally as a big problem confronting us in the 21st century instead of as a resource. I learned of people doing agriculture with seawater. So we built a little model at College of Charleston that took in seawater, the plants took out the salt, and we recaptured the fresh water. The plant gave food, fresh water from salt water. And so Heron Farms is a scaled up commercial version of that. We've been farming with fresh water for 10,000 years that we know of, maybe longer. The 2% of the water on the planet that's fresh that we've been using to do that is shrinking. Learning how to tap into that 98% is going to be a big challenge of the next few centuries, and we're not going to solve it, but we're going to try to help, and Amplified Ag loves being involved in that same mission to tap into such an abundant, growing resource. We grow sea beans. That's our first product that we brought to market. You can also think of this as a plant-based salt, and it won't just have sodium chloride, it'll have other kinds of salts, it'll have vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, all the things we associate with plants. Many of the plants that developed salt tolerance come from the chenopod, amaranth families where spinach and beets come from, so a lot of them end up to have edibility to humans kind of embedded in them. Like an oyster, a plant grown with seawater tastes like the seawater it was grown with. How many times have you been to the ocean and seawater is this thing which resets you, and people get to bite into a little bit of the ocean, which they haven't seen maybe in 10 years or they've never been to in their life. And so we get to repackage seawater in this really delicious, interesting way and send it to other parts of the country. We have a 6-level farm, and we can turn that farm seed to sale 7 or 8 times in a year. And that means that we can take what would have been a few acres worth of farming and put it into a condensed warehouse. And so we built this system, and then Amplified Ag came in with their software and hardware and integrated it into what we had built. To do it indoors, we need to know a couple things: the salinity of the water, the amount of nutrients in the water, the level of pH in the water, the dissolved oxygen in the water, the temperature of the water, and then we also need to juxtapose that with the amount of light and the CO2 in the air. It's much easier to manage a farm when all of those parameters are recorded every few seconds and the data is searchable and can be graphically represented and can be analyzed, and that's what makes indoor farms good at replicability. We've gone from 3 or 4 harvests per year to 7.5 by managing those inputs to speed up plant growth. pH, temperature, EC, water parameters, you get the air parameters, you get your inventory, so how much plants you have ready to harvest, how many of those plants are already ready and they're packed in your cold storage, how many of the ones packed in the cold storage are ready to go to a customer. Amplified Ag allows us to manipulate the environment and to thankfully get alerts when things go wrong. The cost of integrating the alerts is dozens, maybe hundreds of times cheaper than ruining your entire farm and now waiting 7 weeks to get restarted. Amplified Ag software and hardware is going to be integrated into every farm that we make because it's done so much for this farm. It has saved this farm from failure, HVAC failure, from cold storage failure, from nutrient imbalance, from a level of CO2 in the grow room that could knock out a human. I mean, these are things that we can't operate a farm without, and we can't expect our customers to get a product which can't be traced all the way back to the seed and who put the seed in.